Yes, YouTube, what's going on? It's creamslice. Welcome back to the channel. Did somebody say double rewards on nightfalls this week? You know the one. Grandmasters have just been released, so I'm going to bring you guys a build that is certified for Grandmasters. So this build I've had in my head, and I definitely wanted it to be the first build that I took into a Grandmaster this season. It does involve some older exotics, but man, we have just put together an absolute masterpiece. The crowd control on this build is amazing. Some of the gameplay you're going to see here is from 3 different nightfalls. I took this build through a Grandmaster on the LFG, and I ended up getting like 3 exotic drops, so this is why you need to get into the Grandmasters this week. And I did take it into a solo Grandmaster just to see how we could fare up against the champions and stuff. And guys, this shit is madness, right? So we're going to be using the warlock, we're going to be using stasis, we're going to be using the osmiomancys, and we're going to be using the fighting lion. So there's a lot to pack into this video. I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. Watch the video to the end, guys. You do not want to miss out on this build. Leave a like if you enjoy this video, and consider subscribing to the creamslice channel and become part of this family. As you can see, guys, from the gameplay, we are just freezing everything. We're hitting them with a fighting lion. This has a weaken and clear mod activated on it, so every time we hit an enemy, we are getting an extra 15% damage increase. We're taking out champions, guys, by ourselves, just keeping them stun locked while we unload with our fighting lion, and this does insane damage. And when you pair it with whisper of rending, we're getting that extra 40% damage increase. So now this build is just OP as shit. You get extra damage when you directly hit a target. So before you think about, oh, fighting lion, yeah, listen, it's a top draw weapon this season. 1, because it has primary ammo, 2, because it works with whisper of rending, and 3, it can stop unstoppable champions, and we get that extra 15% damage every time we use it. So champions are getting melted everywhere, guys. I urge you to try this build out. You could even solo operative mod, get an extra 15% damage increase to your abilities and your weapon at all time. Like, this build has it all, guys. So I'm going to go over the subclass and show you what we've got. So as we go over the aspects, we're using glacial harvest, so every time we freeze the target, we're getting them stasis shards to feed into our ability loop. Also will feed into how we get our grenades back even quickly when we go over the armor mod. And then we've got bleak watcher on there. You all know how this build goes, guys. You use cold snap grenade, and then you use the bleak watchers. You hold your grenade, it turns it into a bleak watcher, fires and slows enemies. You can get about 5-6 of these up at any given time with the osmiomancys. When we talk about crowd control in a Grandmaster, this is probably the best exotic you could possibly run as a warlock, because not only it helps your fire team, you're creating stasis shards all the time, feeding into your abilities, and also feeding into any weapon armor mods. So here we go with the fragments. We've got whisper of change, so we get that nice damage reduction when we're near frozen targets. This will keep you alive in Grandmasters. I'm currently 1591, and it worked a charm in this Grandmaster we just ran. Then we have whisper of rending, so primary ammo weapons do 40% extra damage to frozen targets. So this is why we're running this, to take full advantage of the fighting lion, so we can shatter everything, get that nice damage bonus on top of the 15% weaken and clear debuff. The weaken and clear and whisper of rending take fighting lion over the top, in my opinion. We've got whisper endurance, so this will make our bleak watchers last longer. So I think we can currently have a bleak watcher up, maybe, I think it's just over 10 seconds. And then we've got Whisper of Conduction. All of our stasis shards that we constantly make will track to our destination. So here we are at my character screen. There will be a dim link below, guys. So I'm going to go over the weapons and the armor mods in this screen here, so you can get a good idea of the armor mods that we're running. And you can see my loadout, what I use to go through a grandmaster. So if you get your resilience, you want both of them touching 10 easily. You definitely need 100 discipline for this build to perform at its maximum. So I was using the Riptide just to stun lock barrier champions in case I didn't have a grenade, or sometimes, if you'll notice, when you throw your bleak watcher down, it does stun lock barrier champions, but can also be out of sync. So when it usually stuns the champions before they throw up the barrier, sometimes they can throw up their barrier and then your bleak watchers just end up bouncing off that and pretty much freezing the ceiling, which is doing fuck all for us. And then we've got the Fighting Lion, so Thin Herd and Chimera, so we get auto loading with that, and then we get the extra damage from direct hits. I was using the Hothead Adept with Explosive Light and Boss Spec on there. And then we'll go over the armor mods really quickly. So we've got Fusion Ammo Finder, we've got Firepower mod on there as well. In my opinion, the best way to take full advantage of the osmiomancys is through 3 firepower mods, an elemental shards, and an elemental charge mod. What will pretty much happen is every time you freeze the target with your grenade, you're going to create stasis shards, and then you want to have elemental shards equipped. These will turn them stasis shards into stasis elemental wells for us to pick up, and then we used elemental charge, so now we become charged with light with 2 stacks, and then we use them stacks of charged with light with 3 firepower mods. So this will enable us to always pretty much have our bleak watchers up and our cold snaps at any given moment. And the fact that we can just make infinity stasis shards by just freezing our enemies with glacial harvest makes this build just one of the best in the history of Destiny. And when I say pair it with Fighting Lion, it takes it over the top. So we've got 3 firepower mods on there, and we've got Weaken and Clear if you want to use that for your unstoppable champions. And then we've got a few energy diffusion subtraits to take reduced damage. So yeah, that is pretty much the build, guys. It's just straightforward, really easy. And the great thing about this build, guys, is anybody can put it together because we all have access to all of the mods. Thank you, Bungie. So yeah, take this build into grandmasters, guys. Play around with it in solo, master lost sectors, anything. This build right here was built for the end game. Hard content is its best friend, and then the crowd control with osmiomancys is just unmatched, as we all know. So yeah, that's a build, guys. I really hope you like it. I'm creamslice. Peace.